Hello there, West Side with it Royal Family. It is Lay of Natural Lay, spiritually known as Luna La Negra. Thank you so much for being here. Before I get started, please allow me to greet you in peace with a divine prayer known as the Anabacoa. Anabacoa, Gejalat Yamenka, Tatir Tizrura, Kabel Renat Amsha Sagvenu Taharinu Norra, Nagi Bor, Dorshe Gadeka, Kavavat Shambrim Parfum Tarum, Rakame Tazika Teka Tamid Gamlin, Chasin Kadosh Baraf Tufka Nahelada Teka, Ikid Ge Lamchampane, Zokre Kadusha Teka, Shavatanu Kabel, Ushma Tazakatanu, Yodea Ta'alamut, Burukshem, Kavod Malkuta, Lalam Vaye. Thank you once again for being here. So, it is 11:45 p.m. on this lovely Saturday evening. I almost didn't make this video today, but it's already technically a day late, and I really wanted to just push myself to get through this, because in all honesty, I did get a little frustrated, but I still feel like we can make it through. So I just wanted to honor my word and be sure to make this video at least on Saturday. It will upload on Sunday, so this is, I can't even say this is night class. So you'll probably be watching this Sunday morning, so some of y'all might be in Sunday school. But we're developing a schedule finally. If you did check out the last video where I did some unveiling, I think it's unveiling part 9, I did kind of come to the realization that trying to do a Freebie Friday video and a class that kind of defeated the purpose of what I initially intended Freebie Fridays to be for, which are like just kind of simple DIYs and how-tos. So Fridays will be reserved for DIYs and how-tos for Freebie Friday. Saturdays will be course Saturdays, we're playing on the S, and then Sundays we'll do a general reading for the week. So that is the proposed schedule for now. So yes. Did I have any other updates? No. And if it comes back to me, then I'll just let you know. But also in realizations, I realized after rewatching the video for week 1's class, not that it was that bad. I don't think it was too bad, but I did think that there was a lot of information and I probably gave too much too quickly. So I would like this week, if you may have saw in the thumbnail, well, first and foremost, welcome to class. And today's class we're still on Understanding Written Rhythm, week 2. Today's going to be a recap. And today we're specifically only going to focus on Iambic. I gave, again, a lot too soon, like advanced course style, and I realized how confusing that can really be. So today we'll be focusing strictly on the Iambic side, and we're going to recap with some vocabulary, with a sentence example, and this cute little formula, if you will, that I came up with that also might help to kind of dissect things. So, yeah. So if you do not already, please go get a notebook, some paper, pen, highlighter, whatever it is you will need. I will say you do not need the printout of the Usnisa Vijaya prayer for today. However, you will need it for next week. So please make sure you have it for next week's class. Have it printed out. It should look like this copy, and I will put the link again in the description below so you can, print it out. So that actually does mean that homework is extended. So the part where, I believe last week I said to break down the Usnisa Vijaya by syllables and accented v accented stresses, that congratulations, you have another week to do so. Not only did people not comment, so I had no idea how I did. This is all in my head thinking, but I kind of felt like, you know how in class when like someone has a question but they really don't want to ask because like they don't want to quote unquote look stupid. That's what I kind of got the vibe of, like, because people watched the video, so it's not like people didn't watch the video, but perhaps it was just so much, it was like, where do I start with asking questions? And that's actually why I would like for this to be in a live format, but once we relocate and the Wi-Fi is stronger and better, then we can resume our live video formats. But as of now, we're just going to have to keep pre-recording and uploading them. So I'm working with what I have, and we're doing what we do. So, just roll with us, and, I appreciate that. So, yes, so this is a recap. And I'm going to read this as I wrote it because I think it makes the most sense. And I did color code it, so I will show my notes. My lips feel dry. But, yeah. Homework is extended. I will say also, which actually ties into what I said in the beginning, which is me feeling very frustrated. If you took on the challenge to try to break down your favorite song, like a verse or a chorus, I commend you first and foremost. But artists really don't write, music in iambic pentameter or in iambic meter, period. And so I found a lot of songs where it would maybe start, like maybe the first half of a line started as such, and then it completely switched to a trochee or a trochaic meter. So I actually had to erase the initial board because I was going to do a live song example, but I was unable to find a song example, and kind of grinded my gears a bit, I'm not gonna lie, but I have all kind of examples for next week, so that's gonna be cool. But so thank you if you did take that on. Let me know how that went. What song did you find, if at all? Like, I know Eminem Lose Yourself kind of had it, Dangerously in Love kind of had it, Desperado will be probably for next week, but there's just certain songs that it would kind of start as an iambic meter, and then it would completely switch pattern, and I know that has a whole different name in itself, so I didn't want to come back confusing nobody. So we're going to just ixnay on the example of a song, okay? So, I guess you can call that extra credit if you decide to do that. But the initial homework of breaking down the Usnisa Vijaya, the first paragraph, via number of syllables and feet, because that's all ties together, as well as the stresses, that is still in full effect and will be necessary for next week. So awesome. I feel like I repeated that, so we're good. So here we go. So understanding written rhythm, aka rhythmic pieces of literature, week 2 recap. And I don't want this to be very long, so I do want this to literally just be a recap. I kind of reconfigured things. Again, I felt like I was a little confusing, so hopefully this is less confusing and is a simplified version of what I stated in week 1's video. So that's the goal here. Words have an accent. An accent is the emphasis used when saying a word. This is known as stressed or unstressed. Identifying this pattern makes it easier to determine. Oh no, I whited it out and didn't write it down. Identifying this pattern makes it easier to determine its face, so to say. I did not come on here. Okay, I want to say that that's supposed to be the word face. My bad. Here we go with the apologies. Yeah, it's face. Okay, so let's recap. Words have an accent. An accent is the emphasis used when saying a word, and this is known as stressed or unstressed. These create a pattern or rhythm based on which comes first in a sentence and the number of times it repeats. Identifying this pattern or rhythm makes it easier to determine its face or its feet type, if you will. So what do I mean by that? As we learned last week, stressed and unstressed symbols, stressed and unstressed words have certain symbols. So last week I mentioned how I liked stressed being that kind of dash or slash, backslash, and unstressed looking like a U because it makes sense. U unstressed. So, since I'm very visual, if you recall in math, and everyone was taught differently, I understand, but I remember in math, there was I can't remember what type of math, but there was this thing where, positive plus negative is a negative, but they were the teacher broke it down in faces, if you will, so you kind of remembered the positives and negatives and what they equated to once they got together. Hope you're following me. So I created faces of feet, and I call it the faces of feet formula. So I'm going to show you and I'm going to explain it, and I realize it's going to look backwards to you, but let's just pretend you're looking at it from my point of view. Yes. So there are two main types of faces or meters, and I'm kind of jumping, but I will circle back. We learned about iambic and trochaic. Today we're specifically focusing on iambic, but I want you to get a visual as to what they would look like once you make those stress marks. So, if there's an unstressed followed by a stressed, this is iambic. Oh, I'm sorry. If you have an unstressed followed by a stressed, this face is iambic. And the cute little way I thought of remembering it is I am winking at you. So that I am makes this iambic because we're looking at the first eye, so to say, like the eye of a face, like there's two eyes, like this looks like a face, right? Eyes, nose, mouth. So if we're looking at the first eye, it's unstressed followed by stressed. I am winking. Doesn't that look like a winky eye, right? So when I am winking at you, it's an iambic pattern. You like that? All right. So, yeah. And then I just did a bracket mouth so that way we didn't get confused with our beloved winky eye here. So this would be the pattern of an iambic meter. Unstressed followed by stressed. And if you make it into a face, the way you can remember it is I am winking, iambic. Looking at that first eye, that left eye. On the flip side, if you start with a stressed followed by an unstressed, you have your trochaic. And the way that I came up, or the way that you can remember that is, I think you're trolling. So it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a winky face, but they're kind of like a little skeptical. So I think you're trolling. Again, looking at that first eye, that left eye. And so trolling, trochaic, I think, IT. Trying to give y'all some patterns here, okay? So this is an example of an iambic pattern. Here's a face to go with it. I am winking, starting from left to right as if you were reading a book. That left eye, you're winking, you're in control. Iambic. I am winking, iambic. On the flip side, we have the non-winky eye. We have that kind of side eye, if you will. Oh, I like that. The side eye followed by the winking eye, or the stressed. And doesn't someone stress you out when they're trolling, right? Well, not really, but you know. So, stressed via unstressed is the pattern of the trochaic. So I just wanted to give like my little faces of feet formula. That's what I came up with, and that's the way you can memorize it. Iambic, it starts with the winky eye. Trochaic starts with the stressed out eye. And then we're talking about eyes, like of a face. So I hope that helps. So I'm going to continue reading now that we have that visual. So, the stressed and unstressed create a pattern based on which comes first in a sentence, right? Which eye comes first? Are you winking first, or are you, side-eyeing first? And the number of times it repeats. A sentence in both poetry and music is called a line. A line is broken down by syllables. The number of syllables helps determine the number of feet. So that's just like a little sidebar. But you can, and I really don't want to say that, but you can almost split the number of syllables in half, and it might come out to the number of feet. Now that doesn't always work, so that's why I was a little hesitant to say that. But if you noticed, you clap 10 times, 9 times out of 10 it might be 5 feet, because 10 divided by 2 is 5, because 2 syllables per foot. Okay, we'll circle back. But a sentence in both poetry and music is called a line. A line is broken down by syllables, and the number of syllables help determine the number of feet, or iambs. So feet, bars, and iambs are all the same thing. A foot is what it's called in poetry, a bar is what it's called in music, and iamb is the literary term. So you have like, in 2 different industries, they're called 2 different things, but overall, they're this one thing called an iamb. Excuse me. And feet have names. So, the name of a foot is determined by how many feet there are in a line. The name of a foot is determined by how many feet there are in a line. The foot's name is called a type of meter, in which again we have 2 main types. It's either an iambic meter or a trochaic meter. Of course, there are other types of meters, but those are the 2 most common and the 2 that we're going to stick with for this course. And today we're focusing on iambic meters. Okay? Okay. I can't even say that yet. So, I'm going to show an example of a sentence we wrote out today. So it says, today I went outside and sun gazed. So I wrote it big so it looks like 2 lines, but it's 1 line. So we come down here. Today I went outside and sun gazed. Today, I went outside and sun gazed. You can see here we're going to start with our accents. Today, ba. See how it goes down, up? It literally looks like down, up. Today. So that to is unaccented. It's unaccented, because there's no emphasis on it. It's just to. It's not today. So then that to would have the accent if it were like that, but it's not. Today. Makes sense? So the first thing you want to do is determine the types, where the accents are. Then you're going to be able to break it up into feet or bars or iambs. It's all the same thing. Today, 1 foot. I went 2 feet. Outside, 3 feet. And sun, 4 feet. Gazed, the 5th foot. This is hilarious. So, let's just recap. This whole sentence is called a line. We determined the types of stress or accents and non-accents up top in blue. Today, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed. That pattern, unstressed, stressed, is what type of face? Iambic. So already we know that this is an iambic meter. But what type of meter? Is it a monometer, a trimeter, a dimeter? That's where I said the foot's name is called a type of meter. So this isn't just meter number 1 or a 5-foot meter. That would be saying it incorrectly. It's kind of like, I wrote something. Yeah, think like a proper name or a scientific name. Like it would be improper to say this is a 5 foot long line or a 5 meter line. It's incorrect. The proper name is, since there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet, 5 will give you the root penta, so it's a pentameter, an iambic pentameter. It's iambic because of the syllable types, the type of face it makes. I am winking, iambic, and because there are 5 iambs, feet, bars. There are 5 individual feet and bars or iambs. Those 5 feet or meters are a pentameter. So it's an iambic pentameter. I hope that makes sense. So, this sentence starts with an unaccented symbol followed by an accented one. And that combination is called iambic. Iambic is the name for a type of metrical foot. So again, it's a meter, but you don't just say it's 5 meters. The meter, or the name of the type of meter or feet, has a name in totality. And these are known as poetic feet in poetry. So the type of poetic foot is based on the metrical foot. The metrical foot is the metrics of the breakdown, the quantity of. There's 5 of them things. 5 is penta, pentameter. I really hope that makes more sense. So our last little formula is the meter. So we know that there's 2 different main types of meters that we're focusing on. Meter plus line length. So the type of meter it is, so based on your calculations, based on how you broke it up individually, the length of it gives you what's called the metrical description. Think about like a scientific name, or like a name of a, I don't want to say drug, but you know, on the streets it's called one thing, but doctors and scientists call it, you know, a Gevius mischievous lotus. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it's improper to say this is a 5-meter line. It's called a pentameter, and its type is iambic. It's an iambic pentameter. That is its full metrical description. Like, I don't say medical prescription, but like, yeah. So, in our example, the line has 9 syllables. Today I went outside and sun gazed. 9 syllables. It's split into 5 feet or bars. Today, 1. I went to outside, 3, and sun, 4, gazed. Each of these are called an iamb, a foot, or a bar in music. Iamb or foot in poetry, bar in music, all 3 are the same thing in terms of mantras. And that's it. So I really hope that makes sense. I will come back next week and we will do a recap of trochaic meters. So that's when we had the example of 3 syllables in an iamb, but we only have 2 syllables in an iamb, which makes it iambic, not trochaic, kind of like triple, double. Well, that doesn't work in that case, but you get what I'm saying. So, I hope the faces of feet helps you. I am winking, iambic, starting with the left eye, going from left to right, and I know it's flipped on your side, but see it from my perspective. And then, which is unstressed and stressed, is iambic. Stressed and unstressed is trochaic. So today we focused on this first face, which is an iambic, because of the placement of the stress marks or the accents of a word. So a way to kind of, I guess like a strategy, there's always like some kind of strategy, right? So first, identify the face. That's probably the easiest thing to do first. Say the sentence out aloud, and you know, hello, my friend, how are you? You know, how whatever your sentence is, and you'll hear which words are stressed or emphasized and which are not. Then you're going to ask, how many times do I see that face in a line? So in our example, how many times do you see that face, right? You can kind of see it here. Use your imagination. So there's 1 winky face, 2 winky face, 3 winky face, 4 winky face. And then we got like a thing going on over there. So there's 5 total faces, which makes the 5, which helps you know that there are 5 meters, or iambs, or or bars, which equates to a pentameter because of penta, the Greek prefix. The number of feet in the line is called a meter, and it's incorrect to say it's 5 meters long. You would say it's a pentameter. And the type of meter beyond pentameter is an iambic pentameter. So I hope that really makes sense. I look forward to seeing you in class next week. Perhaps we'll just keep getting better, but I think that faces of feet really does help. And the cute little saying, I am winking, iambic, and I think you're trolling that T and think, and that troll and trolling for trochaic will help you visually identify the patterns. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me through week 2. We'll keep getting better and better. So definitely please rate me 1 through 10. Don't grill me. And yeah, I found you in peace, so I would like to leave you in peace. Enabacoa, Gitalat Yemenka, Tatir Tizura, Kabavinat, Amsha Sakvini Taharani Norra, Nagibor, Dorshei Gadeka, Kavavat Sham, Rembarkum Taro, Rakame, Tazika Teka, Tamid Gamlin, Shasin Kadosh, Barav Tufka Nahela Teka, Hikid Ge, Lanchampane, Zokre, Kadusha Teka, Shavatanu Kabel, Ushma Kazakatanu, Yudea Ta'alamut, Rukshan, Kavod Malkuto, La Lamrae. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you once again for tuning in. Please make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. And it is officially Sunday, so I look forward to seeing you later today with our general reading for the week. And if not, I look forward to seeing you in class this technically Saturday, since Sunday starts the new week. So thank you again, and don't you ever forget to stay magical. Always. Mwah. Luna La Negra out.